So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K25 Next Gen. In today's video, we are starting off with a new series. It's one we obviously do every single year. It's the off-season rebuilds, and today it's going to be the Brooklyn Nets. Now, I want to make this perfectly clear. Just because we're starting the off-season rebuild series today does not mean we're going to finish all of these before the actual NBA regular season ends. At this point, we are strictly doing teams that have been mathematically eliminated from the postseason. I have a lot of people asking for some more challenging rebuilds, and obviously the teams that are not going to be in the playoffs are not necessarily very good. So today we're going to start with the Nets. They are mathematically eliminated. There is no possible way for them to make the playoffs. Obviously, within 3 years, our goal is to turn this team into a championship winner. Now, I'll try to get to the point as quickly as possible. I know many of you guys are aware that I have been looking for a new series to do, and yes, if you are wondering, this is going to be that series. Now, many of you gave me ideas, and I really just want to say that I very much appreciate it. There was a lot of creative ideas that I thought could be really fun series. Ultimately, I decided against it for a couple reasons. First and foremost, I want to get into the offseason rebuilds as quickly as possible. Pretty soon, before we know it, we're going to have draft prospect rebuilds. We're going to have free agent signing rebuilds. There's going to be a ton of things for us to do once summer rolls around. I want to make sure I get this series done. And on top of that, I want to make sure I get the LeBron era rebuild series done as well. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Seems like you guys have really been enjoying it as well. And I definitely want to make sure I get through all 30 teams of that before the offseason does come. So yeah, I apologize. I'm not really doing any of the video ideas that you guys have been giving me. I really do genuinely appreciate it. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to ever do one of those rebuilds that you suggested. It just means it's not going to be a series for all 30 teams, at least as of now. So maybe when we get to the dog days of late July and August, we can definitely go out and do some of the challenges and some of the rebuild series you guys were suggesting. But here today, the rough plan as of now is we'll likely do 3 LeBron era rebuilds a week. We'll do a challenge typically on Wednesday, as we always do, and then probably one of these. So yeah, I know this has been like the longest intro ever, and I do apologize for that, but just wanted to share you guys the plans, kind of going forward here as we approach spring and eventually get into the playoffs and into the NBA offseason. So starting out with the Nets today, man, they are obviously not a very great team. I have some more thoughts on it. Let's get into it. So the good thing about the offseason rebuilds that we don't typically get is that obviously we have an extra season and an extra offseason. So I'll have 3 full off seasons to rebuild this Nets team. Of course, this is still not a realistic rebuild, so I'm going to go ahead and do some things to expedite this process pretty quickly. But we now have an extra offseason, which I think is going to be really big and can definitely change the way that I do approach some of these videos. So here, starting in the offseason 2025, as you can see, it's technically July 3rd. At this point, we are here with the Brooklyn Nets. They did not have a very good season. We are going to go through this entire offseason as we normally would, except we're going to start here today instead of the start of the regular season. So yes, I simmed the rest of the year. There's no point in showing you guys that with teams that are eliminated, and that obviously will not be really in the mix for anything specifically. Okay, let's talk about this team. As you can see, there's some injuries. You really don't have to worry about that. Those obviously are going to be turned off as we make our way through this video. But this Nets team's in an interesting spot because they have a mix of some veteran players that certainly will have some value this offseason if they are to look at maybe moving them on the trade market. There's some young, intriguing pieces here as well. And I think this team has some quality role players overall. There's just really not a superstar talent here. At least I don't see it yet. So, position by position, D'Angelo Russell is going to be a free agent. Quite honestly, I'm not really sure what my plan is going to be. He's going to be entering his age 30 season next year, and honestly, I don't really see him as a long-term point guard option for me, so that doesn't mean I'm just going to let him go for nothing. I may end up bringing him back and then trading him eventually, but as of now, he's not really in my 3-year plan anyways, and then you can kind of just ignore the two-way players behind him. The shooting guard spot's interesting. I think Cam Thomas is a walking bucket. I think most people are probably in agreement with me on that fact. I just don't know if Cam Thomas is like the face of a franchise. He's probably not good enough to be your number 1. He's probably not good enough to be your number 2 if you're like a really good team that's contending. He's probably good enough to be your number 3. We unfortunately just don't really have that surrounding him today. So he's going to be here for now. I'm certainly not going to let him walk out the door. He's only 23, and as I mentioned, is going to be one of the better players on this team, but I'm just kind of giving you my thoughts on that there. As of now, Keon Johnson, also 23 years of age. I believe he's actually been starting for them a bit at the moment, as of course Cam Thomas is injured, but we'll see how he ends up developing. As of now, just going to be a role player. You got the Anthony Melton, who I'm almost sure tore his ACL. Forgive me, I don't really keep up with the Brooklyn Nets very much. And then Tyrese Martin here as well. So, there's some quality depth at the shooting guard spot. Again, there's probably not any superstars here, but we have something to work with. I'll take it. The small forward spot's interesting. Nothing wrong with Zaire Williams, Jalen Wilson, Derek Whitehead, or Max Lewis. There's just not really a reliable starter here moving forward. I'm not going to get into it too much. It's certainly a position we'll look to upgrade eventually. Cam Johnson's probably the best player on this Nets team. I thought he was going to be moved at the deadline. Of course, Brooklyn didn't really have to do that considering he has multiple years left, and he is on a contract that I think is very easily movable in 2025. So, he's approaching 30 years old, has obviously been in the league for a bit, was part of the Kevin Durant trade with the Phoenix Suns, and I'm not sure if I'm going to trade him today. I'm not going to give him up for nothing, but I also understand where this franchise is, where he is at in his career, and I certainly think it's a possibility. You got Trendon Watford behind him here as well, solid role player, Noah Clowney as well, and then we finally head to the center spot. I feel like I haven't heard a lot about Nick Claxton this year. I thought Nick Claxton was going to continue to develop offensively. He's obviously a pretty solid defensive player, but I just haven't really heard much. And at 26, how much better is he really going to get? So, it doesn't mean I'm trading him. That definitely is not what that means. I just was hoping there was maybe a little bit more there. Deron Sharp here as well, of course, is still only 23, a really solid backup center option. So that's the Nets team. They're not very good. They're rebuilding. They have been now for about a year and a half. And, I think there's something we can do with this group because I do like the depth that we have. We obviously have some draft capital as well, and I think we're in a spot where we can make a little bit of noise. So let's just get into the offseason. Here's how it's going to work. This is pretty much going to be the starting point for every single one of these videos moving forward. As you can see, you got CP3 and Russell Westbrook both calling into career along with Kyle Lowry. We'll take a look at the draft lottery. This is a pretty important moment for us. We are currently projected the 6th overall selection. We also have the New York Knicks unprotected first-round pick. Of course, that will not be in the lottery, but let's see. We end up with the 3rd overall pick. Okay. I will 100% take that. And we also have the Houston Nets pick as well. So we have picks 22 and 23 here as well. Oh, and we have the Milwaukee Bucks as well. Really good job by the Brooklyn Nets rebuilding. All right, man. 3rd overall pick's obviously great. I think Jordi Fernandez has actually done an okay job with this team. I'm not going to 100% commit to him for the entirety of this rebuild. Those ratings, unfortunately, are not great. But I'm going to work with him for now. I don't think he deserves to lose his job. At the moment anyways. So 4 first round picks this year. The number 3 overall pick is obviously a very, very valuable asset. We also have number 6 in round 2 here. And, we might have something to do. We already have a lot of depth on this team. So I don't know if we have to use all 4 of these draft picks. We can maybe include 1 or 2 for a bigger trade or something like that. And I'll just see you guys with whatever move we do end up making. The New Orleans Pelicans currently own the number 7 overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft, and I'm going to see if they're interested in making a trade. Now, these are the later 3 first-round picks we have here in 2025, along with our 1 second-round pick, and if we can swing a deal here, I'd be more than happy to take number 7 overall, and then we'll end up keeping number 3 as well. So, wow, they actually agreed to it. Maybe I should have started at 6, but nonetheless, 2 top 10 picks is going to be pretty good. I'm not moving up from number 3 because we're going to be guaranteed to get one of Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, and why in my hell am I blanking on the name of the last player I could possibly take here? That would be Dylan Harper. Yeah, I'm blanking. All right, let's just see which ones, go in the top 2. We'll take whichever one doesn't. It's going to be Flagg and Bailey as number 1. In number 2, I think Dylan Harper makes all the sense in the world for us here. Now, obviously listed as a shooting guard, maybe a little bit undersized if we were to move him to the small forward spot, but I think he's clearly the best player sitting here on the board, and he's going to be the player that we do take. Because when I think you're a team like the Brooklyn Nets and really any bad team in the NBA, I think you ultimately have to draft the best player available like 9 times out of 10. I mean, there are certain situations where you're not going to do it, but you can't really always go fit when you are in a position like the Nets are. Okay, I think Igor Demine is jumping out at me. Caspers is obviously here. He's a guy I've drafted before as well. Hugo Gonzalez, Liam McNeely. Jeremiah Fears is in here. He's pretty damn good. Okay. I think I'm going to take Igor Demine. I've had some success with him in the past, and again, the point guard spot is a little bit shaky at the moment, considering what D'Angelo Russell's future may look like here in Brooklyn. So Harper and Demine are going to be my 2 picks, a 79 and 75 overall, respectively. Of course, in an unrealistic rebuild, we're going to pick up the options on all of those guys. I'm going to let Tyrese Martin hit unrestricted. I will qualify Sharp, obviously going to qualify Thomas. And then I'd like to bring back Zaire Williams. I don't think I'm willing to give him $10.5 million, which is obviously the qualifying offer, which he may or may not sign. I don't really love that AAV even in the year 2025. So I'm going to probably let him go, at least for now. It doesn't mean we're not going to re-sign him. I'm just not going to give him that qualifying offer. So we hit free agency here. I don't really think we're in the market to spend a lot of money on a superstar free agent. I think maybe bringing a lot of our guys back is probably the best thing we can do for now. Cam Thomas wants about $23.5-ish million annually. It's not terrible. D'Angelo Russell, probably not my long-term plans, but I will pay him for now, just considering where the rest of this team is at. And then, yeah, Zaire, I'm not giving him 11.5. I'm just not going to do it. So we're going to let him walk in all likelihood. We're going to bring back Russell. We're going to bring back Sharp. We're going to bring back Thomas. Obviously, the three that were really important to me there, Williams can go, Watford I'm probably good with as well. Again, these are okay depth pieces, same with DeAnthony Melton. These are okay depth pieces, but ultimately I can't bring back everybody on a team that's going to win less than 30 games. That just doesn't make any sense if I'm trying to really try to be competitive in the long-term picture. So there are players to bring back. There are times to bring back everybody. This is not one of those. Thomas, Russell, and Sharp will be back, though. And now I'm thinking we maybe work the trade market a little bit. We're pulling off a trade here with the Chicago Bulls, and I want you guys to hear me out on this one. This is not a 5-year rebuild. This is a 3-year rebuild. So, while I do have an extra season to let some of the younger players develop, I do need to still be, somewhat cautiously optimistic about the way, 20-year-old players are going to develop within this window. That being said, I'm going to make this trade. It's pretty much a no-brainer for me. There's nothing wrong with Cam Johnson. I firmly believe he is one of, if not the best player on this Nets team, but he's going to be 32 by the time this video ends, and I do think, at least in the short kind of long term, I know that kind of doesn't make any sense, we're going to make this trade here and bring in Massa Buzelis. I have no idea why the Chicago Bulls would be willing to let him go. We're going to send out Johnson, Wilson, and a 2029 first-round pick, get Buzelis and Jalen Smith back in this deal, and I think this is a really big win for us. I don't know what Buzelis' overall is going to look like by the end of year 3, but I know I am very, very intrigued with the possibility and the potential that he has as a young player. So I don't love giving up draft capital in situations like this, but ultimately a pick down the line that we're never going to see anyways won't hurt us. So that is one trade down. We also got Jalen Smith in this deal, who I could hang on to just as a third center. Unfortunately, just don't really need him at this moment. I also could maybe move him to the power forward spot, but I do think I want to let Clowney play behind Buzelis. So at this point, we might make one other trade just to upgrade the backup small forward spot, but we're going to head into year number 1 with likely a team that's not going to win a ton of games. And I fully understand that. We can, again, approach this a little differently because we do have that extra year. So we're pretty content at most positions right now. Again, just maybe a little upgrade here at our backup small forward spot. I'm not going to force the issue too much ultimately, but if there's a trade out there, I will take it. I actually don't hate the idea of bringing in Max Strus again. I know he's 29. I know I just gave the whole spiel about how I don't like players approaching 30, but ooh, Dalton Connect could be fun. I don't know why the Lakers would be willing to do that, but we stay young. Same kind of similar thing with Aaron Nesmith, who's obviously a little bit more experienced at this point. Isaiah Joe could be a fun one. Okay. There's a lot of intriguing small forward options here. I think I'm going to go ahead and pull off the deal with the Lakers. Connect's going to be under team control this entire video. And I think that's a pretty valuable move for us right there. So I'm cool with that. At this point, we're just going to go ahead and move off of Gabe Vincent. If anybody else is interested in giving me a draft pick for him, I'd certainly take that. Thank you very much, Memphis. No idea why they're willing to do that. And then finally, I could hang on to Max Lewis, but if somebody like Milwaukee's willing to give up a first for a 69 overall, I'll certainly take it. So this is what we're working with for now. Again, we are going to I actually want to check the protections on my future first-round pick. I will do that at the start of year number 1, but this is definitely going to be the team we're working with. So see you guys with the rotation. It is the start of year 1 here in Brooklyn. I think we had a pretty solid offseason. Ultimately, didn't make any superstar upgrades with this team, but we've put ourselves in a position where we'll not only have a little bit of cap flexibility, I think we have a lot of depth that could be movable at some point if we wanted to make the trade for a superstar this offseason. So here's how it's going to look. We've obviously brought back D'Angelo Russell. Probably not a 3-year option for us, but he's a nice plug and play for at least year number 1. Ended up paying Cam Thomas just over $100 million. I think he is going to be very much worth it in the long-term run. Dylan Harper, who we moved to the small forward spot, jumped up 1 overall. And actually, if I auto-set this rotation, the game recommends I start Dalton Connect. Now, I'm not going to do that. I think the potential on Harper is not only higher, I think he actually may even be better as of now, but he's obviously going to be starting and playing the most minutes out of anybody on this team. Massa Buzelis is already up to an 80 overall. Cam Johnson's probably still higher, but again, I'm banking on Buzelis is a better option for us long-term. And then finally, still got Nick Claxton here as our starting center. I think the bench unit's pretty elite as well. Dalton Connect has developed nicely. He jumped up 4 overalls in the progression period and is now an 81. You got De'Ron Sharp here as the backup center. You got Agorg Demeen here, the backup point guard, Keon Johnson, and finally Noah Clowney rounding out this 10-man rotation. So, are we going to be contending? I don't think that's going to be quite the case here for year 1, but we'll see what can end up happening. And also, by the way, I did check Fanspo. It says that this Nets team currently just owns their first-round draft pick in 2026 outright. There's no protections. There's no swaps. There's no nothing. So I don't know what 2K is going to say, but I'm going to take back my draft pick. I will see you guys at the end of year 1 here in Brooklyn. Now, I'm sure like many of you, I thought we weren't necessarily going to be great here in year 1. And I'm not really sure what happened, but this team stumbled and won 50 games. Again, not really sure how that happened, but I will obviously take it here for year number 1. Now, it would have been nice to have a really high pick again. It's obviously not going to be the case, but, 50 wins is pretty good for a team that was absolutely dreadful heading into the first season. SGA wins the MVP award. Dylan Harper does win Rookie of the Year for us. I will definitely take that. You got James Harden. He ended up signing with the Pistons. Why, I have no idea, but he's your 6th man of the year. You got Giannis winning Depoy. Matas Buzelis does win Most Improved. Telling you guys. Luka Doncic, Clutch Player of the Year. Mark Daigneault, head coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder, is your coach of the year. So we're probably just an outright playoff team. We're a 3 seed here. I don't really know how that happened. We're going to have the Toronto Raptors in round 1. A very, very interesting year 1 here in Brooklyn. Just not something I was really expecting whatsoever, but I guess I'll take it. Here are the numbers across the board. Cam Thomas, as we expected, did lead us in scoring. Dylan Harper just won Rookie of the Year. He was our number 2 option. D'Angelo Russell, Matas Buzelis, Dalton Knecht, Gordon Demeen, Deron Sharp, Nick Claxton, Keon Johnson, and then Noah Clowney. Led in rebounds by Claxton, led in assists by Harper. Okay. I did not think I would be, preparing for a first-round playoff matchup here in year 1, but here we are. It is Jordan Poole, now a member of the Toronto Raptors. Grady Dick, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl, Brandon Ingram coming off the bench for this team. Naz Reid as well. Wow. They made some nice additions to this group in Toronto. And I'm not going to lie. I think they actually might be the better team. But we are 2-2 at the moment. We go down 3-2, and we get bounced in 6. Now, I'm not going to take too much away from these playoff numbers. We are a young team. Obviously, it's just a good experience to be there. But, wow, Cam Thomas was a bucket for us. Dylan Harper. Yeah, I need a little bit more from D'Lo. He's, one of the experienced players on this team. There's not a lot of guys that, have a lot of playoff experience. It looks like it was not a very great series for a lot of guys, though, outside of Thomas and Harper. So, good experience nonetheless. Hopefully we can build upon this season. And somehow the Detroit Pistons and Cade Cunningham are here in the finals taking on Dallas. God, find you somebody that loves you as much as 2K loves the Dallas Mavericks. And then here's a look at Detroit. So, let's see what happens here. Wow. Dallas sweeps and Kyrie Irving your finals MVP. All right, it is time for our second offseason. You got LeBron James, Jimmy Butler both calling it a career. Klay Thompson here retiring as well. Popovich and Taylor Jenkins. How old is Taylor Jenkins? Okay. LeBron entering the Hall of Fame. That's a big surprise right there. Klay Thompson should be entering the Hall of Fame as well, but he is not. And here's a look at the draft lottery. We're not projected any lottery picks at the moment. Our pick says it is owned by the Houston Rockets. Now, I'm going to trust Fanspo more than I trust 2K. I'm going to take my pick back because that's what it says. It doesn't say there's any swap or anything in 2026. Fully outright says that Brooklyn owns their pick. So 2K is not necessarily known, for getting the pick protections, right? So I'm going to take it back. And if I'm wrong on that, I'll be wrong on that. Jordy Fernandez, definitely not going anywhere at this point. Just led us to 50 wins in a really positive first year. I will get my draft pick back. We also have the Atlanta Hawks pick in round number 2. And I'll just see you guys in the draft. Here in the 2026 draft, I actually considered a few different trade options. I was considering some different moves to maybe upgrade our point guard spot, but ultimately could not find any deal that I loved. So we're here in the draft. We have our first round pick back. I'm not really sure who we're going to take. Micah Murison seems like he's a highly rated prospect and has some good size. 6'10" out of Duke. Why the hell not? I will not be using our second round pick, though. That I do not. Actually, no, I do not want to make that trade. I do not really need this pick as much. Again, we have a lot of depth with this group already. So, yeah, 74 overall. Micah Murison, welcome to Brooklyn. Knecht, Buzelis, Clowney, all will be brought back. Qualifying offers, we have none. Free agency here. I don't think we're going to have a lot of money to spend, unfortunately. We got about $35 million at this point. Maybe there's a play out there for me. Kevin Durant has one offer from the Phoenix Suns that he may or may not take. Also could consider maybe, now if there's a way for me to sign Jaren Jackson Jr., because he has no real offers at this point, I think I have to take that. Also could maybe go after Trae Young or De'Aaron Fox, 2 enticing spots at our point. Okay. I think I have to make a move for either Jaren Jackson Jr. or Trae Young. I think that kind of goes without being said. Now, we could obviously make a play for a superstar like Luka Doncic, who actually appears to be willing to go to the Bulls instead of the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay. I'm going to have to clear up some money. That again, is pretty obvious. At this point, if I move D'Lo and maybe Deron Sharp as well, I probably will have enough. I'm going to, I'll offer Luka a contract. I don't think he's going to accept it. That actually might take the Bulls out of the Luka Doncic running. Hang on a damn minute. Wait, how much money do we have now? We have $53 million. Okay, I have to clear up one other contract There's not really any terrible contracts here, and I do really want to hang on to Deron Sharp. Damn. Demean's just making so much money. I could also just dump my first-round pick, who, of course, I legitimately just got. I'll probably do that. I think that probably makes the most sense here. Somebody just give me a draft pick, please. Somebody, thank you very much, Houston. Okay, I'm going to throw some money at Luka. Now, will Luka accept it? That's, very much TBD. Probably not. And then some backup options for me here. One, of course, is going to be Jaren Jackson Jr., and then the second would be Trae Young. I think all of these guys would be very much worth signing here right today. Okay, we get Trae or we get Jaren Jackson Jr. Luka's going to go somewhere else. If it's the Bulls, all power to you. I'm going to take Trae Young. I'm going to take Trae Young for a couple different reasons. I'm not going to get into a pissing contest right now about who's a better basketball player between Triple J and Trae. I'm taking Trae strictly because of a positional need. Now, Massa Buzelis probably will never be on the level of Jaren Jackson Jr., but considering we don't have D'Angelo Russell anymore, I think point guard is a much bigger need for this group. Now, I would be terribly worried about how he's going to fit defensively next to Cam Thomas. I don't think it's going to be a perfect fit, but thankfully this is 2K, and I don't really think it's going to end up mattering that much. And oh my God, Luka Doncic is still here. I'll give it one last shot. If he's willing to come here over Trae Young, I'll obviously do it. Oh my God. Luka Doncic, welcome to Brooklyn. And in what will likely be our final move of the offseason, we're going to pick up a defensive specialist here at our backup shooting guard spot. That would be 32-year-old Chris Dunn. He's probably never going to be anything super special for us, but of course, with the way this backcourt is currently set up, we don't have a lot of defense. So Chris Dunn can be a nice backup for us off the bench. And at this point, I'm pretty content heading into year 2. This was a 50-win team, and we are adding one of the best players in the world. I really think we can make some noise this year. I mean, are we going to be the favorites? Probably not. But ultimately, we've gotten to the point where I think this team could definitely be something special. So I'm excited, man. I really am. I'll just see you guys at the start of year 2. I would say we had one of the more shocking off seasons I've had in a rebuild in a long time. Now, I ultimately do think the reason we were able to get Luka is because I think he actually accepted the Bulls' offer, and then after we traded D'Angelo Russell to Chicago, I don't think they had the money to do it anymore. And Luka decided he wanted to come to Brooklyn, and again, that is more than fine with me, my friends. He takes over as our starting point guard, obviously the face of this franchise, and I'm very excited to see what he can do. Now, Cam Thomas will remain our shooting guard. Dylan Harper is developing nicely at our small forward spot. We got Massa Buzelis. Nick Claxton remaining as our front court bench unit's also developing quite nicely here with Dalton Connect, Gordon Demeen, Deron Sharp, Noah Clowney, and Chris Dunn rounding out the 10-man rotation. So, again, this was a surprise, last year winning 50 games. I think we definitely will be in the mix for 55, maybe even 60 wins this season, and hopefully a true contender here in the Eastern Conference. So, I'll see you guys at the end of year number 2 here in Brooklyn. Such a beautiful way to wrap up year number 2 here with the Nets. Luka Doncic not only wins the MVP award, but he leads this team to 62 wins. I thought maybe 60 was going to be the ceiling. We broke right through that and broke through that in a big way. AJ DeBanza is your rookie of the year there in Charlotte. You got Desmond Bane, now a member of the Utah Jazz, winning 6th man of the year. You got Wemby winning Depoy, VJ Edgecombe most improved, Tyrese Maxey clutch player of the year, Chris Finch coach of the year. Not Jordy? Come on, man. All right, it is time for the playoffs. We are obviously going to be in it. We are the 1 seed here in the East. Here's a look at the West. We had the 3rd best record in all of basketball, and I think this is easily a contending team. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So Luka, Cam Thomas, Dylan Harper, Dalton Connect, Gordon Demeen, Buzelis, Claxton, Sharp, Clowney, and then Dunn. Led in rebounds by Claxton, led in assists by Luka. Okay, us in Milwaukee here in round 1. What is happening here? Okay, no disrespect to Ty Jerome. He's having a great year, a breakout season, if you will, and certainly deserves to be paid handsomely this offseason. But starting him over Damian Lillard? I don't see that one, but all power to you, Milwaukee. Here goes round 1 against Giannis in the Bucks. We are currently up to 1. Make that 3-1. Make that a 5-game gentleman sweep. Now moving on to the Orlando Magic here. Jalen Suggs, Jed Howard, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero added Jakob Poeltl, Anthony Black, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Bol. Okay, this is a good team here in Orlando. They obviously have a lot of depth. I just don't know if they have enough offense to keep up with us, and we sweep them. And it is us in Toronto, the rematch of last year's first-round matchup. We obviously have a little bit better team now. Development, adding Luka Doncic, that tends to do it. So let's see what happens here in the Eastern Conference Finals. Bit of a Cinderella run here for Toronto. We are up 3-0. We run them out of their own building, and we are taking on Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves here in the NBA Finals. Can we get it done in year 2? Can we get it done in year 2? Rob Dillingham, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Rasheer Fleming. Okay, I'm not really sure what happened to Rudy Gobert or Julius Randle, but they now have Rasheer Fleming and Robert Williams instead of those two. Oh, no, Rudy's still here. He's just coming off the bench. Okay, time for our first finals appearance. Quick 2-0 lead. Make that 2-1. Make that 3-1. And make that a possible championship here in our second season. We are in Minnesota trying to close out the Timberwolves on their home floor. Looks like it is a close, contested ball game. Kind of a back-and-forth affair. Oh, boy. Okay, we're not going to be getting it done here. Disaster of a fourth quarter. And we officially are heading back to Brooklyn. Can we close them out here at home in New York? Can we get it done? I don't want to go back to Minnesota. 2K. Please don't do this to me. Okay, close game. I'll see you in there. It seems like bad fourth quarters are just really hurting this team right now. At the moment, we've been outscored 22-14 in this fourth, and we find ourselves down 3. I got to focus, as I'm sure many of you are aware. Oh, God damn it. No. As I'm sure many of you are aware, I suck at this game. Again, I say it every single time there's gameplay. I'm pretty decent at the rebuilding part. I'm absolutely dreadful at the gameplay part. Luka's just going to cross Rob Dillingham out of his mind, and we are back at a 3-point game. So I got to do what I got to do here. Whether they're taking a timeout? Okay. 2 minutes exactly. We are down 3. Again, I have no want or need to go and bring this series back to Minnesota. So let's just hopefully get this done. Starters are now all in the game, and yeah, I'm going to try to do my absolute best here. Nick Claxton, I need a little more from you, buddy. Absolute best here to get this team a championship here. Anthony Edwards going to pull the long 2. He's going to miss that. Luka with the board, giving him a double-double on the night now, and oh my God, Rob Dillingham just cannot do anything here against Luka. Big rebound for Luka. Why does this game fucking do that shit? It drives me up the fucking wall. God, the shot meter in this game is just so incredibly broken. I mean, it's a point-blank layup. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that contested layups do not always go in. I get that. But for a guy like Luka Doncic, who is legitimately 2 feet away from the basket, he's hitting the goddamn shot. I don't really... Shit. Not great, Bob. Not great. I'm forcing the issue way too much. Way too much. I had a lane and I didn't take it. Luka, let's just work against Rob Dillingham here. No disrespect, Rob. You're not covering Luka one-on-one. Okay, we can get easy buckets like that. We know that. We just got to focus defensively now and make sure we do not do anything stupid. So I will kind of hang off ball here with Claxton. Hopefully Rudy Gobert is not getting too involved in the offense and the CPU can do a good job. That's also the problem with this backcourt is they're not really that great defensively. Okay, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to give the ball to Luka here. What am I doing? I'm trying to give Luka the fucking ball, and it's not working out very well. All right, 50 seconds on the shot clock. I don't need a 3 right now, per se. I wouldn't mind taking one, though. Luka, green, top of the 3, top of the key, excuse me, gets the 3 to go, and we are knotted at 104 apiece. I saw the off-ball screen coming, and I knew I had to take it. Again, I need Cam Thomas to play the best defense of his life right now against Anthony Edwards. This is not a favorable matchup for us. They're going to kick it over here to Dillingham. He's going to pull it, and he's going to miss it. Okay. Nope. No. Give Luka the ball back. All right. We have to take a shot. They successfully were able to get the 2-for-1. I'm going to call for the ISO here, and we are just going to work, and we're going to drain the clock here against Rob Dillingham, and we are going to hopefully get this thing down to its last possible... No. Give Luka the ball back. Shit. I fucked that up. Luka to the rim. Gets it in. 13 seconds left on the clock. It is a Luka takeover here in Brooklyn, and we are now officially up by 2. 13 on the clock. We are 1 defensive stop away from a championship here, my friends. Okay, no disrespect, Luka. I gotta pull you. I gotta pull you from the game right now. What does a defensive lineup look like? It actually keeps Luka in, and it replaces... Oh, shit. Actually, Chris Dunn has to be in the game right now. Cam Thomas has got to come out. I just don't know who I prefer at the point guard spot. Yeah, I'm going to keep Luka in, I guess. Okay, that scares me a little bit, but Chris Dunn and Anthony Edwards is definitely a better option than Cam Thomas. All right, we're going to try to deny Anthony Edwards the ball. They're going to get it into Dillingham quick. I'm going to run down here with Rudy. Ant's going to drain the clock. He wants that last shot. Chris Dunn working him one-on-one. Cannot get by him. Gets the foul. Oh, no. Oh, that's bad. That is so bad. I thought I had the positioning there. I switched on to Dunn at the last second, and Ant is going to the charity stripe. with the possibility to tie this game at 106 apiece. Now, we have a timeout. I can obviously advance this ball if we do end up getting tied. I can put Cam Thomas back into the game here for one final shot. Edwards is going to make the first, absolutely just cool as a cucumber. Okay. Especially if he misses it, we got to get the fucking rebound. That kind of goes without being said. Big second free throw here for an Ant. We are shaking the screen. It is up, and it is good. Timeout. 3 seconds left. We're going to obviously put Cam Thomas back in this ball game right now, and at this point, I think it's pretty obvious who I got to go to. It's going to be Luka Doncic. There's really nobody else it would ever be. And we are just going to do our absolute best to do what I do. I have run this play a few times before, and it tends to work out pretty well. Luka gets the easiest fucking layup. Oh my God, they don't have a timeout. I do not know how that play always works. Anthony Edwards is going to put up an absolute prayer. It's going to go and... Holy fuck. You kind of have to feel for Rob Dillingham a little bit. I kind of just abused him with Luka Doncic this entire video, or well, that entire gameplay. And yeah, Luka's going to be your finals MVP. I mean, again, not necessarily the numbers you'd expect out of Luka, but hell of a series, hell of a season. We got one more to go. Of course, this is typically the offseason we don't really ever get to. So it's kind of cool looking at this for a first time, even if we're not going to end up making a ton of moves here. We have some lottery picks. Oh my God. Now, I do want to check the protections on all those. So we traded for that Phoenix pick. We traded for that Chicago pick. I don't think we traded for that Sixers pick, nor do I know any of the protections on any of them. So as of right now, it's saying we only have the Phoenix pick, which is actually fine by me. I know we traded for that, so I'm not even going to check the protections on it. Obviously, Jordy's not going anywhere. We approach the 2027 draft, which is definitely not something we do super often here. Wow. Holy shit. This is a lot of draft capital. It is a lot of draft capital, and I don't really know what I want to do. I mean, there's probably an upgrade out there, so let's just see if I can make it. I'm going to do something kind of crazy. I don't really know if this is going to be a remote possibility, but it'd be kind of cool to trade for Joel Embiid. Now, he's obviously regressing, as you can see by his overall. He's 33 years old. The numbers are not nearly as good as they once were, but he's still Joel Embiid, and I would definitely take him over Claxton. Honestly, we've already won a championship, so I'll kind of... Really? That's all it takes to get Joel Embiid? Okay. Welcome to the team, Joel. I hope I can help you get a championship here. And then I think with our final move is I'm going to do something similar I did into the first offseason, kind of combine a bunch of picks. Maybe try to trade out to number 7 with the Wizards or something like that. Just seeing if it's a remote possibility because, again, I just don't need all these draft picks. So I don't know what it's going to take. I don't really want to give up anything more than this if you want just a bunch of seconds. I mean, I still have a ton of draft picks. So that's number 7. Actually, I'll give up another future. Like, what am I going to do with all these picks? Nothing, right? I think position of need, maybe a new backup center. I don't really know. It doesn't look like there's a single center here. So Caleb Gaskins, not going to sit here and pretend I know anything about who that is. So he's a 77 overall. Harper, Connect, Demine, and Bazelis all will be brought back. Qualifying offers, we have none. And then here, oh my God, this is an insane, insane free agency class. Well, at least I know that for future offseason rebuilds, right? If I have to make a play and, try to sign somebody and eventually, in one of these huge off seasons, I definitely will be able to do it. Noah Clowney, somebody I am going to pay, and I don't really know what else to do at this point. Maybe I go out and try to make a trade for a backup center. I mean, what other moves are really necessary? I mean, there's not really anything I 100% have to do. You know what? What could I get for, like, Chris Dunn? Actually, who are the free agents we have money to sign, technically? I'm going to bring in Isaiah Joe. I like Isaiah Joe a lot. I do. And so we're going to bring him in off the bench. He'll be the backup shooting guard, which now will go ahead and allow me to trade Chris Dunn. And honestly, I'll trade this Gaskins kid that we drafted as well and hopefully find somebody okay enough to back up Mr. Embiid. So, wow, we're actually getting some pretty talented players offered us here. Yves Missi sitting here? Probably about as good as it's going to get. Welcome to the team. See you guys at the start of the third and final season. Final season for us here in Brooklyn. As I'm sure you can see, because you have eyeballs, Joel Embiid has not stopped regressing. So note to self, do not trade for Joel Embiid in any future videos. I'm not super worried about it. I'm sure he'll still be fine. Luka Doncic, Cam Thomas, Dylan Harper's up to a 92 overall. Very happy we made that pick. Back in offseason number 1, Massa Bazelis, who I thought was going to develop much quicker, just hasn't, unfortunately. I don't know whether that's his role on the team, the opportunities he's getting, but he's still an 82. And then obviously we traded for Embiid. Bench unit's going to be led by Dalton Connect, Agor Demine, Yves Missi. Isaiah Harwell was actually another player in the Yves Missi deal, and he's actually 1 overall higher than Isaiah Joe. So he's going to get a little run. I don't really care. So Isaiah Joe's still here. This team's obviously unbelievably talented. I very much think we can win a championship again, and hopefully we go back to back. It is another MVP for Luka Doncic as we wrap up our third and final season here in Brooklyn. The record is 72-10. His numbers are right there. I mean, it's crazy. Those are still insane numbers. I don't know if they're quite MVP numbers, just considering, you know, what Luka typically is, but we obviously have a lot of talent around him on this team. Tyron Stokes, your Rookie of the Year. I don't know who that is. Darius Acuff Jr., your Sixth Man of the Year. You got Wemby winning another Depoy. Koa Pete, Most Improved. Kyrie Irving, Clutch Player of the Year. And Jordy finally gets the recognition he deserves and does win Coach of the Year. Okay, it is standings time. We are 22 games up on the Cleveland Cavaliers for the 1 seed here in the conference, and maybe a rematch with the Minnesota Timberwolves in the NBA Finals. Time will tell. Here are the numbers. Not a single player on this team scored 20-plus points a game. I mean, again, we have a lot of elite scoring options with this group. Led in rebounds by Luka, led in assists by Luka. Round 1 of the playoffs, it is us in the Indiana Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nembhard, Jarris Walker, Siakam, Sayon Kita, Ty Jerome, Davion Mitchell. Respectfully, there's just not a fucking chance. All right, moving on to Atlanta, who has replaced Dyson Daniels up to a 90. Wow. This is a fun big three right here. Trae Young would be really fun with it as well, but they decided to go with Giddey. Okay, well, let's see what happens here in round 2. We are finally down in a series. I feel like we haven't been down in a series in forever. We're going to Game 7. We win that Game 7, and it is us in Cleveland here, who we, of course, led by 22 games here in this conference. This team is still unbelievably talented. Their Big Four is still intact, and I fully expect this team to challenge us a bit. I guess not. We go to 7 with Atlanta, but that's the team we sweep. Oh, shit. I always get a little nervous when I have to face Wemby in pretty much any situation because, oh, what the fuck? Come on. Give me a break, 2K. All right, it is time for the NBA Finals. We look to go back-to-back. Up 2-1 at the moment. We go up 3-1. They're fighting back a bit. We get it done. Luka. What the fuck is going on with Luka right now? All right, man. A very interesting video. I don't really know how to describe it. We made a lot of very interesting trades, and ultimately it was a very big success here for the first offseason rebuild, and I really did enjoy it. So I hope you guys did as well. As I mentioned, wow, Dalton Connect's actually the third highest overall on this team. Let me know which other teams you want to do. I'm going to just let you know in advance. I am doing teams that are statistically, physically eliminated from the playoffs so far. So, like, obviously we're all very much aware the Philadelphia 76ers are not making the playoffs. As of now, according to Basketball Reference, they have a 0.3% chance to get in. So until that is 0, we are not doing them. That goes for every other team. I was just using the Sixers as an example. So, yeah, if any teams are physically and mathematically eliminated from playoff contention, let me hear it down below in the comment section. I am happy to do it for next week. But as I mentioned, probably going to do about 1 of these a week. Eventually, as maybe the NBA playoffs start, we'll ramp it up to maybe 2. But I desperately want to finish the LeBron era series as well. So we're looking at probably 3 of those videos a week now. Moving forward, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the first one of these. I am very excited for all of them coming this offseason. And, yeah, Nets fans, I hope this was some sort of relief because it's not very fun being a Nets fan right now, I can't imagine. So that'll do it for me. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.